Broadcast of the court proceedings for the first time, and millions are expected to tune in. MDC leader Nelson Chamisa has challenged President Emmerson Mnangagwa's victory in last month's presidential elections. The case has been cast as a major test of independence of the highest court, whose verdict cannot be appealed. The court could throw the case out, declare a new winner, or order a fresh elections within 60 days. The verdict will pave the way for Mnangagwa's delayed inauguration if the ruling ZANU-PF party wins the case. Okay, for more on this now, we're joined by political commentators Tino, Mambeu, as well as Acie, Lumoomba, who joins us in studio. Gentlemen, thank you very much indeed for your time. Acie, maybe if I can just start with you.
Right.
The world's attention is on this case, isn't it? It's going to be broadcast live. Is this a major test for the Constitutional Court?
Absolutely. I think it's not only a major test for the Constitutional Court, it's a major test for the president and the opposition in the country. It's a major test in the sense that everybody has, people always ask, what's the big difference between Mnangagwa and Robert Mugabe? Robert Mugabe would have never allowed this to happen. First of all, with Robert Mugabe, you wouldn't have gone to court, okay? Then second of all, with Robert Mugabe, the world would not have been able to see and witness what is happening in court. The greatest test today is not so much what is the result going to be. It's going to be how are the two different varying parties going to handle the result. If it doesn't go to ZANU-PF's way, will ZANU-PF be able to accept that? If it doesn't go to MDC's way, would they be able to accept that? This is the highest test and degree of outshine of democracy. And today, I hope both parties will demonstrate responsibility. I hope both parties will be able to concede or congratulate each other, depending which way the result goes.
Tino, welcome. Look, I mean, the ZEC has, of course, conceded to some mathematical errors in terms of the vote counting. Do you see this as a big aid in the MDC's case?
Well, it's neither here or there. The idea here is the people of Zimbabwe have always longed for a free, fair, credible poll. The election of a president is a sacrosanct matter. It is a matter that should be, to a very, very large extent, be given the due diligence, due process that is required. But what we have seen from the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission is its undesire to make sure that the people of Zimbabwe, to a large extent, get to choose the leader that they prefer. Now, for Mr. Mnangagwa, all he needs is the majority of Zimbabweans to say yes, so that he can be able to be in a position to run the country. But unfortunately, what we have seen in the court, it is that the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission does not know how, if Mr. Mnangagwa has won the election, with how many votes, with what percentage, because they have already provided about 3 sets of figures. That confuses the people of Zimbabwe, and it casts a shadow on their integrity as a commission that is supposed to run polls. That's number one. Number two, the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission was asked to try and explain why there are more votes for the president than the parliamentarians, and they failed to answer that question. Then number three, they could also not tell us or even try to provide evidence, because in the event that somebody gets 3 ballots and decide not to vote for the parliament candidate or for the presidential candidate, that information is recorded on a form called the PF 2005 AA. That form was never brought to parliament to try and justify why 40,000 people, why 40,000 votes different between the parliament and the presidential. However, the crux of the matter here is when we say that I have seen a goat, it does not need one to look for the birth certificate of a goat or for the day the goat was born to say that it's a goat. It's simply a goat. So what we, the people of Zimbabwe, are saying is you have not done the arithmetic correctly. The primary evidence is the arithmetic, the mathematics, the numbers that you have brought out. These are the numbers that we are looking at. They are not right.
Sorry, Alicia, what's the chances of this court challenge being decided on technical grounds?
Okay, so understand why we went to court. The court didn't decide it wants to sit. It was asked to sit by the opposition. The opposition said, we have 2 fronts we'd like you to sit on. Basis number 1, we want you to validate us as the winner of the election. So can you announce me as Nelson Chamisa to be the winner? Basis number 2, can you deem this election we've just gone through illegal? All this conversation about who should prove what, ZEC should prove what, has got nothing to do with why we are in court. We are in court because we've been called for those two to give a legal solution to those two legal questions. Now, the empirical evidence provided in court is what the judges will use to make a decision. So whether technical, whether legal, whether political, it's besides the point. You go to court with empirical evidence. The burden of proof is not on ZEC. The burden of proof is not on the court. The burden of proof is on the person who said, I would like to come and put up an accusation. But the trouble you have seen, and my colleagues say something correct, confusion. The opposition is full of confusion. I think they don't understand what happens in court or what they're supposed to be doing in court. The only thing you're supposed to do in court is provide empirical evidence to your accusation. You don't go to court and say, can I see your evidence? You go to court and you say, here is my evidence to my case. So the decision today will be made not on technical grounds, but purely based on what evidence did they bring forward when they made the two requests for the court in the name of a petition.
Acie, there were allegations about whether or not the ZEC is captured or the independence of it as a body. What do you say to these allegations that it has vested interest in the ruling party?
I think anybody who says that has absolutely no understanding of how ZEC is put together. Before you appoint the commissioner who leads ZEC, that process goes through Parliament. Understand, in Parliament, the chair of the committee that does this is from the opposition. Understand, in Parliament, the opposition is in the committee. She would have not gone through if she had not gone through Parliament. Now, bear in mind, while the Parliament was passing through who was going to be the ZEC commissioner, the opposition was busy fighting each other. They were busy throwing each other out of Parliament. So if the interests end up being interests aligned to a certain side, it's not a result of manipulation. It's not a result of capture. It's a result of the prowess and good whipping that takes place in Parliament. But I think these people are professionals, and I think it's highly unfair to disregard the years of professionalism judges have to go through in the name of, they must be captured by a political party.
Acie, Lumoomba and Tino, Mambeu, as you can see on your screens, we had a split screen there. There are developments happening in Parktown for the Commission of Inquiry. SABC Jonas is likely to take the stand. We saw, we're seeing images of him there, so we have to cut this short now, but stand by, we'll try to get back to you.
All right. Well, as